everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'll be setting up for the month of February. The theme that I went for is the movie Letters to Juliet. It was starred by Amanda Seyfried in the year 2010. The story is all about this young woman named Sophie who visits a wall where the heartbroken leave notes to Shakespeare's tragic heroine, Juliet Capulet. And during her time there, she found this letter from 1957. Sophie finds the letter romantic and yet heartbreaking that the recipient of the letter wasn't able to get a reply. So she decided to write to its now elderly author, Claire. Inspired with Sophie's reply, Claire sets out to find her long-lost lover accompanied by her disapproving grandson and Sophie. This is such a feel-good rom-com that I totally recommend for you to watch if you haven't already. It also came out with a book, so if you prefer reading it, do whatever you please. Anyway, since we all have the grasp or idea of how the movie went, let's continue on with our setup. So for my cover page, as you've already seen, I am drawing in Juliet's balcony, which was located just above the courtyard. It's the place where Juliet vowed to marry Romeo despite it all. Juliet's balcony can be found at Verona, Italy, specifically at La Casa di Giulietta, or in English, House of Juliet. It's known to belong to the Capello family until purchased by the city of Verona in 1905. Capello is close enough to the Capulets, just like in the story of Shakespeare. As you might have noticed from earlier, I redid the way I colored the brick wall just because it looked a bit messy on my first try. So now I'm using the monoline brush to completely fill in the whole wall. I also used a different shade and layer for the balcony itself, so it would be easier for me to blend it all together later on. I then used the airbrush tool with the blend tool to create the shadow effect, pretty much the same way I do for every drawing or painting that I create from clay. Now finally turning the page to my monthly spread, I drew the actual wall where in the film people stick their notes or letters for Juliet. It's pretty much the courtyard area of the House of Juliet. Despite the film being fictitious, the premise is not. Writing to Juliet is a real thing, and she does write back. In the little courtyard opposite to the statue of Juliet, you'll find a small red letter box affixed to the wall. This is where you drop your letters and how the Julietas reply. So despite it being a full brick wall, I just decided to place the bricks at each corner of the journal. You'll see me place one or a few in the middle, but I'll eventually remove them as I started using this setup, since it was really hard to write on top of them even if I created this opaque boxes that you'll see me create later on. Other than the famous brick wall, I also drew the bronze statue of Juliet. Today, the original piece is placed inside the museum since it's been creating a lot of rust or holes in the statue, because it is known that when you touch Juliet's breast, it will give good fortune and love. So if you're searching for love or answers, then add Juliet's wall or house into your must-see places. Now going back to the movie, for my final page for this setup, which is my habit tracker and my mood tracker, I paid homage to the last scene where Sophie was whisked away by her Romeo using a beautiful yet a bit cheesy confession of his love. I added the confession as the quote of my quote page, which you'll see later on in the flip through. This movie is definitely a must-watch, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. But to be honest, I'll be catching up with the new Korean TV series called All of Us Are Dead, which I think has some romantic scenes as well. Not really sure, but anyways, that's pretty much it for this month's setup. There's nothing else but the flip through. So with that said, let's head on to my Good Notes app. yeah, that's pretty much it for today's setup. As promised, this is the confession that Sophie's Romeo confessed to her at the end of the movie, so feel free to read that as you pause the video. But anyways, that's pretty much it for today's video. As always, stay safe, stay creative, stay you. Virtual hugs and kisses. Bye, my friends.